Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. So this is a midnight therapy session because I was sitting here having had a nice little bathroom flood experience, and it was just a crazy sequence of events to where I just was sitting up here laying in bed, telling myself that I should probably get up and go in there, and I was too lazy to do so. Sitting here just literally lazy. You know how it is when your mind is telling you to move, but your body just don't want to do it. For those of us who are over 35, you know what I'm talking about. My body just didn't want to move. But eventually I made my way in there, and as soon as I got into that area leading up to the bathroom, I felt the water under my feet, the cold ice water, and I'm like, uh-oh. I know this apartment doesn't have regular floorboarding, so anytime there's like flooding of pipes anywhere, it comes up through my floor. I've had this issue more than once here, so I knew what it was when I felt it, but I'm like, okay, did I do something I shouldn't have done, like put something in the toilet that would have clogged it? And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, it might have been something I had done. I might have threw a piece of lettuce in it. It might have been, might have done that trick. And so, I'm sitting up here thinking, all right, let me own this. But the flood was a little more than just a toilet flood. And I'm like, I've dealt with a lot of toilet floods. I don't think I'd ever dealt with a flood that much. It might have been eh, 2 inches or more thick of water, um, all the way around and behind the door. So I'm like, all right, it took several towels and many rings, many rings to get that up. But I finally got it up. And, to make a long story short, I'm glad I actually got up and finally went to the restroom, because if I'd have spent the night without going in there, needless to say, that would have stayed bad. And not only that, but it turns out that it wasn't the toilet itself. It's a pipe issue. So when I turned the water off, it stopped the process. Testing it helped me understand that water floods in rather quickly when you had the water on. So as I was sleeping throughout the night, that would have kept the water on, and it just would have made the flood worse and worse and worse and worse, and I would have been none the wiser. So, that's one of them situations where I was being nudged to get up, and I didn't want to, but eventually, uh, it worked all out. I guess you could say it worked out. I mean, now we gotta have a plumber come in here and check out what's going on there, but I'm fairly confident it's not something I did this time, so I'm very hopeful that it'll be found that it isn't my fault. But yeah, that's gonna be a couple hour job for that plumber, whoever that is. They're gonna have to get in that wall. So anyway, that led to me having a fantastic midnight shower after that, because I wasn't gonna be messing with that kind of water without taking care of that aspect of the game. So that makes you more relaxed. I get in the shower, I do my prayer thing and meditation thing. That just comes with the process for me. And then it led me to just kind of doing a therapy session where I'm sitting here in bed and I'm just praying, about the experience of kind of what I've been just going through these last several months. Starting off basically from when the car was taken, all the way leading to where we are now, and just thinking about even further back, even further, just some of the things that I went through with the job that I had and quitting the job, and some of the things that I needed for my mental health, wondering if I still need those things now. When I was going through what I was going through, quitting the job, I felt I needed to be away from work. I needed to not be working. I needed to not, I was burnt out. And I went through many different phases since quitting that job in this apartment by myself. Many phases. It's been almost a year. It's been, I'd say, I think I quit that job in June. It is now March. So it's been a lot of different things that have happened since then that I've just gone through on my own, and went through, just to say that now I have the habits of catering to that mental space when I don't know that I'm still in it. I'm kind of just living that way. And I think it's one of those situations where it's like, as you continue to stay in isolation and the time continues to progress, it's like, I'm just not sure if the way that I'm going about things is still what I want for myself. Now, granted, my goals are still the same, to hold my shares and, continue to work on my crafts as an artist, the various art forms that I've been trying to just master, basically. Lately, it's been visual, doing a lot of art. I'm working so much on that it's consumed all of my time, just like video games used to and things like that I would waste my time with. Now I'm more constructive, creative, and I'm loving it. I'm finding passion in it. But it's getting to a point where it's like I'm getting lost in it, And for those of you guys who follow me on here, on Super Bowl Sunday, I bought myself my wedding cake. I had gone a whole week without my wedding cake weed. And I decided, with a little bit of the money that I had been given, I was just going to break that cycle of being dry and just get myself some and just have it here and use it as I wanted to the whole week that it was gone. But the week that it was gone, we went through having a nice week of good content on this channel and good therapy sessions. As I told you guys, without weed, I'm able to dream. So a dream that I had led me to having a conversation with my sister. It was a lot of good things that happened during that sober week. And by the time I got to getting around to wanting to purchase the weed, I was feeling guilty about wanting to do so because I felt like I had gained so much being without it. But at the same time, it was like I did miss the relaxation and the peace of mind knowing that it was an option in my household. But that same breath, I was like, I'm not necessarily as disciplined as I would like to be bringing home, something like that, and to think that I'm gonna make it last when I buy it in bulk, for which I was gonna do this time, getting normally an ounce is what I'm saying. Normally, I usually don't do that, but this time it was Super Bowl Sunday. They had a big time discount. Figured, hey, it's a perfect storm. So I got myself an ounce. And it's lasted. It's a sleepy type of strand, but I would say it's very imaginative, dare I say spiritual, So for what it's done, it kind of kept me silent for the first couple of weeks. I didn't really want to record. I didn't really want to talk. Since it was All-Star Weekend, it gave me an opportunity to not really be on here like that. And during that time, I was just doing art and getting myself more accustomed to the habit of getting up and doing the routine that I have in this house now. And throughout that process, I started realizing that I just wasn't addressing anything. Kind of got comfortable. The same habits, the same behavior that put me in a position to be as stressed as I was, it was the same habits I was continuing once things had improved. And so I started to ask myself, slowly but surely, as these type of things were popping into my mind, it became a question like, am I giving myself too much of a break? Am I being too soft on my own self as it pertains to helping my own mental health and self-medicating / providing comfort for myself / providing a serene environment for my tender, disposition, I guess you could say. Whatever it was that I was going through, I gave myself what I wanted. And in that process, I kind of overindulged, I think. And it just gets to a point where you have to ask the broader question, which is the same thing I alluded to in the previous video, talking about Russell Westbrook, and how I felt like he was going through something out there that maybe he wasn't really getting into too much about, based on maybe his mental health. From what I could see, it looked like he was going through something there. And my point is I'm trying to say that, I was in a space where I started to realize that maybe, I was giving myself too much of a break. Maybe I was being someone who was allowing himself to overindulge in the things that he liked to do so that he can help his mental health, when really I wasn't helping myself at all, just making myself weaker, I guess is the question. Not certain that that was what was happening, but feeling that that was probably the case. So I wanted to kind of address it on here. Let's say that, that I kind of give myself some breaks. Not to say that I stopped working, because it was, as it pertains to doing what it is that I love to do, I've been at it, utilizing my time in more productive ways than I ever have before, to be honest. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm handling business as I should. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm doing everything I can to not only put myself in a position to have the things that I need, but to also just be helping my mental health, to be getting the help that I need so that I could make better decisions and things of that nature. I haven't addressed my mental health. And, I give myself a break, as it says, as it pertains to when you are alone, you kind of just aren't really going to push yourself to really do certain things that are big, certain big changes. You have to kind of want to do them. And, without that inner desire, for which I guess I don't really have, there's no real push to move. There's no real urgency, I guess is what I'm saying. But at the same time, it's like, I do understand that there's a lack of discipline here. I do understand that there's a confusion as it pertains to how to go forward with myself, and how to basically manage my mental health, and what did I call it? The tenderness of my disposition, and to try to put myself in a position where it's not so damn tender. Get back to that no fear attitude that I was talking about in that Russell Westbrook video. Getting back to that mentality that I think comes from a place that is kind of forgotten about now, which is a place of even though I have this challenge, I'm going to bull through it and ignore it for what it is, and give it no light and face it head on. And I think that in the presence of all this consciousness about my mental health and being aware that I'm going through something, kind of started to give myself a bit of babying. I used to do myself in a way like my mom used to do me, baby me a little too much. Make it feel like the comfort is safety, as opposed to self-sufficiency being more so of a defense to life's woes. And I think that's what the wisdom that life has taught me is helped me understand that my ways, they're not best, as it pertains to what my philosophy is as to how to move in life. You have to continue to stay on top of things, stay detail oriented, stay hands on, and it's for myself, the way that I am, and my disposition, once again, puts me in a position to not really want to be. I don't have that mindset to want to handle the stress that comes with that. It provides an extra dose of anxiety for some reason to address certain things, even when I have the resources to do so, which is what really makes it worse. But nevertheless, there's no real consistency to that. Sometimes I'm able to no fear that, handle it, and pull through. Other times I'm tender and don't want to handle nothing. Want to stay in my cocoon, so to speak. And so that's what this has done. Getting that ounce of weed just to kind of tie everything together. It kind of put me in a position to want to stay away, and kind of just be to my own devices, so to speak. And what that has done is made me question whether or not it's good for me. I don't doubt that it's not, unless everything that I'm waiting for happens to take place, and then all of this worked out just fine. And see, that's what it's about. It's the notion that this AMC, GME, all that squeeze could occur, and then make it so that all that I've been doing was just fine, but without that magical miracle of an event, all of this is is counterproductive in many ways, whether I'm holding my shares or not. And so that's what I know. That's what I know. It gets to a point where you understand that you're just really comfortable, sitting in a comfort zone and afraid to leave it, and that's not just something you stop thinking about when you say, okay, I have a mental health issue and that's it. No, you got to find a way to win that battle and fight that war. And I think I'm up for it. I think that's the bottom line. The question is, are you up for it? Each and every person has to answer that question for themselves. And this time I can say, yeah, I'm up for it. I wanna win this war. I got prosperity to gain. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about a life outside of what I've been experiencing over these last 8 months, which has been isolation in this apartment. I've done good things in this isolation, but I don't know that I still need it. I don't know that it's still what's best for me. But I'm comfortable with it, and I'm comforted in it, and that, for some reason, as you guys know, holds precedent in my head. And so as I continue to try to win that battle and try to figure that part out, all I can do is declare it true, and also declare myself capable of winning that and overcoming it. I am. So that's what we say here. We know going forward, I think I want to infuse more positive words. I think positive thinking is so cliche. I don't think I like what it implies as it pertains to having the ability to overcome what otherwise could be chemical. But what I do want to say is, as we go forward to try to find ways of managing, we declare it possible. We give ourselves a chance, and so that's what I'm willing to do. I don't want to get on here and just tell everybody who can't overcome that they're somehow being defiant of themselves. I think that's a miss. That's a miss that people tend to throw at people when they can't define what it is that they are seeing within someone else. You're not failing just because you don't choose what I think is your best choice to preserve what it is that I feel you should be preserving, which is your life. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like a lot of assumptions and presumptions about what a person's intake would be as it pertains to what they're taking back in life. It's like you assume that what you value is what they value. You assume that what they need is what you perceive it to be. And a lot of times when a person's in their own head, only their language can define their circumstances. Only their perception can truly help them agree with their reality. And without that, they're just fighting to please you. So as I speak in my affirmations and things of that nature, I understand that I'm also suggesting things to other minds, and what works for me may not work for that mind. But in that same breath, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. That's why I share my struggles and my rhetoric, because maybe there's some way to overcome all of this, even if it is chemical. Maybe there's a way we can psych ourselves out so we can buy ourselves some time, and give ourselves an opportunity to enjoy the lives we're in. And I think that's what it's about. I speak of we because I know I'm not alone. There's many people out there who are going through their own mental struggles, and maybe a little more or less capable of defying those struggles. But I think if they feel like they're not alone, maybe they'll give themselves a chance. So you're not. We're in this together, and I'm not in the business of quitting. I felt like giving up, but those feelings didn't prompt me to action, and I'm thankful for that, because it gave me an opportunity to continue to speak here. And with that, I'm saying, What can I say? Don't baby yourself. Don't allow nobody else to baby you either. Give yourself an opportunity. Fight your battles. You know where too far is in terms of that line that you can't cross. You know where it is. But it does not hurt to remind yourself that it hurts. And what I mean by that is, feel me on this. You know how they say, you don't have to touch fire to know it's hot. As it pertains to mental illness, I've learned that sometimes I do have to touch fire to remind myself it's hot. As it pertains to those anxiety lines that you don't cross or you start feeling anxious, you gotta cross those lines to build up the strength sometimes. And I'm not saying cross those lines and live in anxiety forever or put yourself through trauma. What I'm saying is, if you never get out of your comfort zone, it's very difficult to build up the strength that it requires to heal. Healing is the building of strength. You can't build that strength unless you allow yourself to step away from that of which makes you weak. But if you don't define it as making you weak, then you got to understand, if you can't maneuver within it, if it doesn't allow you to function properly, then it's enabling you not to be strong. That's how I would define it. So, as you go through the process of going through your mental health, don't just stay in your comfort zone like I have, or otherwise you'll find yourself very weak and less willing to get yourself out of bed and go see about that flood in that bathroom. You see what I'm saying? See how that all ties in? Yeah. So that's what I got to say about that, man. This is my therapy session. I found out that one of the reasons why I always run out of time is because I have such a massive Apple Music library. That's what it is. That it's ate up literally the majority of my phone space. Like, I got so many playlists and so much music. It's crazy, y'all. Y'all don't even know. Follow me on Apple Music, BDF. And yeah, that's what I got. Thanks for watching BDF 44. Peace.